Good evening, good morning, good day, good whatever. It's 7 p.m, so I think we can finally begin. And welcome to the FPV University live stream. Last time we streamed, like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, and you do have to admit that the last week or so was probably the biggest, how to say it, the biggest change that we had so far in the FPV world, because probably this was the first time that really like we were directly affected by the let's be very polite and say the geopolitical situation in Europe. And yeah, I know that some people think that okay, BLHeli is down, we will not be using BLHeli. There's more, but we're gonna talk about this slightly later. And besides that, it's time for the any other evening live stream on Saturday. I do have to admit that since I basically stopped doing live streams every week, my approach to this whole procedure slightly changed. Like 3-4 years ago, this was like every week, yes, let's do the live stream. I will be answering questions and it will be amazing, and we're gonna have so much fun. Yeah. But well, how to say it, since the whole channel making is currently for me more than just it's only a hobby for me recently, because you cannot really make money from this, and if I do have to work, I have better things to do than recording videos over here. Things are looking slightly different, but okay. I see that people starting to appear, which is nice. Poziom 69, a question: when the film with the GoFilm 20 and GPS and iNav. The reality is that in the last few weeks, I'm basically swamped with other things. Plus, last week I was kind of sick. I only today finished my antibiotics. So, in the topics of time, I have none. That's just the sad reality. Unfortunately, my pile of videos I do have to record is piling up, is growing, unfortunately. I'm trying to manage this thing by probably not starting new project, but trying to, let's say, just do stuff that is in the works for too long. Like, for example, I have this charger over here, M8D. Looks like a pretty dope charger from Turkey Dersi. And the thing had at the premiere like a month ago, I think it's 15th of May. I still have not made a video about it, yet I promised Turkey Dersi I do have to. And I have a few other not project, like few other things like that in the queue. So those things will have to go first. But when this thing will be finally over and I will be able to start interesting things again, hopefully somewhere around July. Hopefully, I hope that it's the reality. Then for sure, I have these things. I have GoFilm 20 with the version with the GPS and iNav. I have a tiny whoop with GPS and iNav. let me quickly find. Where's the bloody box? I found the box. I'm converting one of my tiny whoops to the iNav version. You see, look, it's the Beta FPV Meteor 75, I think, with the a pretty GPS on the top. This thing is already running iNav, and this thing is doing a position hold. It looks so strange when this thing tries to enter the post hold. you cannot really test this thing outside because, well, any wind and this thing like goes sideways. Also, we cannot really play too much with this thing where I live over here. Only the house I'm building at the moment it's relatively okay, but they will be pouring concrete next week, so I'm losing access to that area as well. So it's a problematic. But you see, a tiny whoop with the GPS and the running INAV doing position hold and other fancy stuff. It's fully possible. So like I said, I have a few projects in the works, lack a lot of time, and between things that I really do have to do and the things I want to do, for example, to run this channel, the time is always a problem. The time is always a problem, and because, let's be honest, yeah, fun is nice, but at a certain point you do have to start earning some money, and that means that currently running of this YouTube channel, like honestly, is the fourth priority in my life at the moment because of others thing. Pretty interesting, pretty amazing stuff that is going. Poziom 69 without compass, yes, without compass, INAV 7.1 or 7.11 or 7.12. Like works flawlessly. Well, not really flawlessly, but the latest INAV 7.1, you can have anything a position hold with without compass. I have a video or two about on this topic already on the channel, so you might want to check it out. Yeah, Zoe FPV. Hello. Nice you dropped in. And yeah, we're definitely gonna talk about BLHeli 32 situation and what can we actually do about this, because if you haven't noticed yet, BLHeli configurator is no longer able to flash. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. Because the BLHeli AS, the company that was owning BLHeli, just wound up completely closed all the servers, removed all the files, and at the moment the BLHeli configurator, BLHeli 32 configurator, can be used only and only for the configuration, not possible to flash in a new version. So that unfortunately it's a problem, and to some extent it's the problem because yeah, because it's a problem. Let's be honest, it's a problem for in some of the cases. On the other hand, I believe that will be fine. I think we'll be fine, and at the 2025, nobody will even remember that BLHeli 32 existed, because all the new hardware that will be rolling out from China will be based either on the BLHeli AS, and if you ask me, there's not that much of the practical difference in terms of flying between BLHeli 32 and BLHeli AS. Or just Blue Jay. What else do we have here? There we have AM32, we have Escape 32. I'm 100% sure that the Chinese manufacturers are right now very seriously thinking about we should do more AM32. And have you heard? There is this guy who makes the Escape 32. Maybe we should use his software as well. This is in the works. This is in the works, and that's up. So it will be fine on the longer period. On the shorter period, like it hurts everyone. It hurts everyone. However, let's all remember that to some extent the BLHeli. Okay, I will say something controversial that some people might not really agree that much. And the thing is that many people concentrate on things that doesn't really matter. Honestly, if you are running the latest BLHeli 32 version or the version that came your ESC flashed with, if this is not something like super ancient, and probably it's not super ancient, everything works. Everything bloody works. Not a chance that you have something without the D-shot, without bidirectional D-shot, without really like important stuff. Yes, maybe there is not this latest few functions, like they added some extra protocols like S-bus inputs, like this kind of the stuff. But if you don't need it, and 99.99999% of the users do not need it, it works. It works. And once they got the variable PWM fixed like 2 years ago or something like that, from the flight perspective, it doesn't really matter. my fleet flies either BLHeli 32, BLHeli AS. I have a few of the Blue Jays. I have a few on the AM32. Everything works. Like honestly, not really a big deal of anything, and everything is nice and great. So it goes. Jeff Paris 32.10 needs to be public. It won't. If any one of you expects that any kind of the BLHeli 32 code will actually be public, you are wrong. This will never happen, at least now, from the very simple reason. It's not that BLHeli AS decided, okay, we are shutting down. That was too good of the business for them. And believe it or not, it was a good business for them. They are a public company, not a public company. They are a company in Norway. And from the public data, seems like in theory in the 2023, they tripled their income. They tripled income, so it was an extremely nice source of the income for basically for the guy, because let's be a company, not really that big of the company. Especially when you do not really have to develop, because you have the already developed product. So it's not that they wanted; they were basically forced to do so. Why exactly? Something about the war in the Ukraine. This is the reality. They got the court order, or like they got scared from the lawyers saying that if they continue, they might get sued and there might be fines and jails. Just the owner decided that no, we don't. No, nobody hacked the data. Jeff Paris, nobody hacked the data. On top of the official statement from the BLHeli AS, actually the lawyer of the BLHeli AS, I don't know, I don't have this thing on me. No, I do have this. It's somewhere, so let me quickly find it. So this thing, it's signed by the Irina Fotchenko, which, oh, my camera is going bonkers. Whoa, camera going bonkers. Let me fix that. Camera is no longer going bonkers. So we have clearly written over here that decided to wind down its business operation effective from today. There will no longer be able to provide further support, and as further support, we just have to understand that they are pulling the upgrades. Why? Geopolitical landscape and the associated risk of BLHeli 32 being utilized in drones for warfare. Either like someone like got to them, like many like the serious, the lawyers, the attorneys, I don't know. Never mind, prosecution or like court, or like someone decided that this is definitely not the way to go, or the bank or the IRS, the tax authorities, or anyone there, like no. And on top of this official statement, I also saw some not screenshots of some conversations. And in one of the screenshot of this conversation, this was clearly written that servers will be shut down. The content of the servers will be removed, and this 100% applies to a BLHeli 32, which as a proprietary software and closed software is like the BLHeli AS is the sole responsible for this for the software. And it was also based on those screenshots possible that they are considering should they remove also the BLHeli AS repositories from the internet. Because like for 100% someone started to ask some questions to some other people, and you don't want to mess too much. Just like that. We will not, of course, be covering the moral aspect of that. I honestly, guys, my thoughts are somehow mixed. I I am fully aware that my creation and the creation of other open source developers is used to kill people. I'm fully aware of that fact. I know that there are drones flying left and right with the software I helped to develop. That is dropping bombs or like doing reconnaissance missions or any different stuff on both sides. This is just a reality. I'm very much in favor of the Ukrainian side of this war because of the reasons. And we won't be really discussing those reasons. Let's just say that I'm quite close to the center of those events. I'm in the Central Europe. Like Poland has a border with Ukraine and Poland has a border with Russia. I would prefer very much not Russia to like decide, okay, the Poland is next. So no. I'm very adamant on my I identify as a judge in this situation, and there is side that in my opinion is guilty of this whole situation. So that's that. S-Bank FPV won't happen. As long as there is war in the Ukraine, it won't happen. BLHeli AS will not release the software. If you will get the binaries, it will be, let's say, from the maybe somebody will hack something, but it won't happen. That's just the reality. Zoe, I don't agree that the drones doesn't change anything in the landscape of warfare. The war in Ukraine is the war that changed the landscape of how the drones can be utilized at war. Because before that, everybody understood that drones are the Reaper kind of multi-million systems flying, dropping precision munition on stuff and some reconnaissance and Bayraktars 2 years ago. Turns out that those drones, they are amazing. They have amazing capabilities. The things that our FPV drones like this, of course, cannot do because this is completely different kind of the technology. However, it was proven that those big systems are big, bulky, hard to operate, especially when there is active combat. They can be shut down, and when they are shut down, they are very hard to be replaced. Yes, they can much more than those small thingies, but on the other hand, they are much more. You cannot really afford to lose them, and this conflict. When pilots just started to convert their everyday FPV drones and like then mass-produced everyday FPV drones into basically dump flying bombs. That changed the warfare. There just appeared a completely new threat on the battlefield. Because now it's not only the guy with the rifle, it's not only the guy with the rocket launcher, this is not only the attack helicopter, this is not only airplanes or the multi-million-dollar drone flying like over there. You can have equivalent, not the equivalent. You can greatly improve your capabilities of being able to neutralize threats with the hardware that costs you $1,000 per set. No, not the $1,000 per set. No, this is wrong. Because how much it really costs you to build a single FPV 7-incher? $200 top with analog, the cheapest stuff over there. You don't need anything fancy. Maybe even if you buy in bulk, maybe even much less. You can train the operator on the simulator on any other laptop, basically for free. You buy him goggles, and you are ready to roll. So this is the completely, and it turned out that those improvised smart ammunition can destroy trucks, kill people, even attack tanks. Because well, if you attach the correct payload to this, it just like goes, drops, kills. It's a kamikaze drone, cheapest than ever. cheaper than ever. As long as you have at least some money, you can get yourself something like that. Of course, somebody has to provide you with the electronics, but frame you can do at home. Basically, even if you are smart enough, I can guarantee that Ukraine and Russia are already building their own flight controllers. They only are getting chips from anywhere and like building their own flight controllers. So that's a completely changed the warfare. It's a revolution. Maybe not on the scale of the smokeless powder, which was basically the biggest change on the battlefield in the last 200 years. But pretty massive change. So it's affecting us, and it's also affecting us in the way that kind of makes me start asking questions of what's gonna happen next. Because yes, we have BLHeli AS had to wind up and stop delivering software for the BLHeli 32. Okay, that's one. I'm not sure if you know, but the T-motor is on the list of the United States that basically prohibits any exports or imports even you cannot basically make any business with the T-motor, because United States put the T-motor on the list because they were there's a document that says that it's against the security of the homeland or something like that. So T-motor is a big no-no, but they are like legal entities. They are companies doing stuff. And now think about this like that. Us, out of nowhere, the FPV pilots and our hobby machines that we just fly because we like to fly them, or just help to build software, like I'm helping to build software. It's a completely new approach. If I was responsible for the homeland security of my country, I would be watching me. I would be watching me. I would be watching everyone who knows how those things works. I'm not saying like surveillance or anything like that, but watch. Like, be aware of the guy. I don't want to be watched by Homeland Security. But I have no idea if I'm watched, by the way. But I would not be surprised if I was watched. So that's that. On the different note, basically since the beginning of the war, I'm getting requests from different entities to help. Although I'm very much in favor of the Ukraine and like, yeah, do it, I was always refusing from a very, very simple reason, because as long as you are on the internet, nobody knows who you really are. It might be some guy from Ukraine, it might be some guy from Russia, it might be some terrorist getting my help to do something fancy. So my answer is always nope. I'm sorry, but I'm not helping you. If you want my help, please prove that you are really who you are. Like, for example, go through your embassy. If your embassy sends me an official letter and I can confirm this, for example, with Polish authorities, then okay, yeah, but we can do it. Nobody like went that far, because it's easy knowledge to get if to think about this. So that's that. But I'm getting like all the time questions from different entities. Like last week. Oh, this was nice. This was nice. I have to share the story. I have to share the story because it's super crazy, and it's a proof that when you are doing business, you have to like, don't let your emotions play too much, because you will only lose. So I'm a world-class expert. somehow that's just a reality. If you want to do something with iNav, then probably I'm your guy. And because iNav is the simplest way to make your drone flying and have some fancy capabilities. Yes, ArduPilot can do more, but iNav is simple to work with. So if you want to build your special drone system, you can just use iNav as the low-level thing that will manage, and on top of that, build extra boards that will provide some comments, like Zoe FPV, the thing that you wanted to build with your drone that we discussed a few years ago. This with Raspberry Pi. This is probably the cheapest way of doing some fancy stuff left and right. So yeah, like I got the request for help from a guy who wrote that, yeah, we are working of AI driven. Okay. Everybody are using AI nowadays. Tube launched disposable drone system. If anyone ever says me that they are working on the tube launched disposable drone system, it's a military application. If not directly, then this can be super easily converted to the military application. Just attach a grenade and you have the beautiful disposable drone system that can be tube launched. And on the battlefield, like tube launch system is perfect because it's small, compact, it's foldable, goes into the air and start doing stuff. So because of that, my reply was no, because your application is an attempt to weaponize iNav. I do have to reject and I will not help you. The standard answer. Honestly, that's my standard answer that I get like dozens of times so far. And instead of like, okay, thank you, or like, no, this is not military application, I got the reply. How dare you? How dare you accusing us of like building something that it's a weapon? Writes the CEO of the company that has the defend in the name, like military application all the way. So at the end, he got into not a fight, but we exchanged a few emails when I was accused of not being a good engineer. I was accused of judging them, and how dare I? Well, I dare, because why not? So at the end, the outcome is the same. I have not helped this company, but if the guy wants any in the future by any kind of the help, no. If he treats his employees like he's writing emails to the guys who can potentially save them like hundreds of thousands of dollars, then no, we will not be doing ever business again, because this is absolutely not okay. So that's just the proof that when you are doing business, stay cool and do not let your emotions play too much of the role, because it just doesn't make any sense, and at the end you will only get hurt because at the other hand there might be me or someone who's cynically similar to me, and yeah. So emotions are not good for business. Yeah. S-Bank FPV, with the shutdown of the Betaflight iNav ArduPilot, you cannot shut down this thing. The difference between the BLHeli and Betaflight iNav and other softwares is that Betaflight and other softwares are open source. That means that they are easily available to anyone. Good, bad, evil, whatever, but they are basically public. And from what I'm aware, those laws that were involved in shutting down the BLHeli AS do not really apply to the things that can be easily obtained. And because like Betaflight can be easily obtained, no license, no buying, no agreement, just go download. This doesn't apply. Besides, you can shut down BLHeli 32. Because there's only one entity that holds the rights to it, has the binaries, and it just holds the project in its hands. It's BLHeli AS. BLHeli AS stops and it's there. With the open source, it doesn't work like that, because nobody owns open source. maybe, okay, Linux Foundation has the right to like Linux name, but the code is public. Everyone, Butterfly code is public, INAF code is public, and everyone who wants to can have a copy of the whole Git repository on the local PC. So even if one day somebody, okay, we have to pull down Betaflight from the GitHub, it changes nothing, because there are thousands of people who already have the source code locally. So just doesn't work. And because there is no legal entity that represents Betaflight, it's a completely different story. Because like how, whatever. Yeah. Jeremiah, no, it doesn't. No, it's the war in the Ukraine and the geopolitical situation. Just like that. Nothing with the US manufacturers. Because US manufacturers are also using BLHeli 32. And because there are free alternatives, everybody can work with something else. Like, if BLHeli 32 was not a competition to anyone. So the argument that BLHeli 32 was closed because of the being competition to someone doesn't make sense. Because there are free alternatives that are as powerful as the BLHeli 32. AM32, for example. Nobody else was really selling comparable software anywhere. So if anyone would like to shut down because they are the guy competition, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, oh, but they are like trading with Russia. Okay, maybe. Okay, but then it was closed because they are trading with Russia, not because they are competition to anyone. So let's not go into the conspiracy theories, because I think it doesn't make sense. Alex FPV says that Sirius and set face BLHeli 32, even key supported AM32 already. Is it something to do with INAF and BLHeli 32, or what is gig? One more time, BLHeli 32 is closed source software. INAF is open source software, and if you are building an ESC and you do not want to pay BLHeli AS for the license for the BLHeli 32, there are free competition softwares you can just use. So it doesn't really because why shouldn't key support AM32? Don't pay license when you have comparable, at least comparable. Some even say that AM32 is better to some extent than the BLHeli 32. Get this and you will save yourself a serious amount of money on the whole process. So kudos, yes, that's exactly. DC US 55. Next day will ban trees as people can hit each other with the sticks. Yes and no. Well, nobody is banning drones. It's just that Europe has sanctions on Russia. And because to some extent BLHeli AS was providing software that was then exported to Russia, we have a problem. Because think of it like that. T-Motor is on the US security list. Norway and United States are allies. They are both members of NATO and stuff like that. For the United States, T-Motor is the security risk. BLHeli AS provides the software to the T-Motor. T-Motor sells its ESC to Russia. From the United States point of view, BLHeli AS is helping a company that has security for the United States to provide weapons to Russia. Period. Tomasz, teraz now everybody will be jumping to Bluejay. Bluejay, BLHeli AS, AM32 Escape, there is a lot of competition. There are a lot of different softwares. Like I said for a few times, next year nobody will really remember the whole situation, because buy yourself BLHeli 32 ESC if you want to from China now. They will work just fine a year after. And then you can flash AM32 into it if you really want to. Just do it. Let's just like have fun. So hardware is manufactured in batches. It's not that they stopped selling licenses and the stock of the BLHeli 32 ESCs is just depleted immediately. That's just not the reality. So you can still buy them. Yes, in the next few months it will be harder to buy them, but at the same time already manufacturers are switching to the alternative softwares. They are already starting rolling out AM32, thinking, okay, let's just start flashing something else. You know, it's only a week, but in the 3 weeks, it will be like completely different software leaving the production line. Next few months, yes, there will be the prices of the ESCs might go up. There might be a problem of the availability of the ESCs, but 2025. Not a problem anymore. IM32, Escape 32, everybody will switch to the new hardware. Everything will be perfect. Will be fantastic. Maybe even prices will go down because, well, you don't have to pay the license for the BLHeli 32. Maybe you can lower your price for like 10 cents or something. So. Yes, can the BLHeli 32 be flashed with AM32 now? Yes, it's possible. Come on, we can just go to the AM32 GitHub. AM32, and there's a list of the supported, there has to be a list of the supported ESCs. So can we find it? Can we find the list of the supported ESCs? Docs development, maybe here. Now building in WSL. You can flash the F051, F415, F031. So there's a lot of different targets. Crawlers. The latest firmware can be found here. Online configurator. Target compatibility list. This is the target compatibility list. So we have different iFlights, Steam Motors, blah blah blah, Mambas, different targets for the BLHeli 32. So yeah, like a lot of different stuff can be flashed with AM32, and the list will grow, I can guarantee. Let's say I more or less know who is responsible for AM32. Hide asking. So that, and yeah, it's like requires some. Okay, you have to flash the bootloader with some things, but yeah, it's possible if you know more or less what you are doing. So yeah, it's there. It can be used. And Volodymyr, do I plan to contribute to AM32? Nope. I'd have no time to contribute anything new. Like, honestly, guys, I'm swamped. I'm swamped with stuff. I still have to go to work every day. So it's a completely, yeah. And that's, yeah. Yeah. As bank, Russia is the bigger advertiser for joining NATO. I have no idea from where you are, what you did. I live in a country that was basically occupied by Russia for 50 years. I remember Russian troops in my city. I seen some stuff in my days. Russia advertised NATO for everyone around, just like that. And if that's just the reason, the countries of the Eastern Europe treat Russia as a threat. I don't know which country doesn't understand Russia as a threat. Maybe Belarus. Everybody else, a threat. You never know what's gonna happen. So that's that. Terminal insanity, but it doesn't have to be. There's nothing really like fancy to do with those hardware. That the mapping is public. It's not. It's a simple hardware. There's nothing like custom ASICs over there. So don't really worry. It's just like somebody has to like build a target for it, and that's all. Like it's a simple process. Nothing to hack, nothing to decode. Even everybody knows how to flash the bootloader. You just go into the bootloader and flash the bootloader. Yes, it requires additional hardware connected to like the place, but it's not that hard in any way. So why not? Yeah. So that's that, and well, what can we do? I think we can just stop talking about BLHeli AS at the moment, because I don't think it makes sense, and I don't know why, but my camera has a strange colors. I have to verify something. Yeah. No, the colors are fine. Okay, so that's that. Ian FPV. Oh, this is a good comment. This is a good comment from Ian. Good day, Pavel. And BLHeli 32 software has plateaued anyway. No significant software release in the recent years anyways. Time for a change. The thing is, but what new do you want to have for the ESC? Which kind of functions are you really lacking? I don't see absolutely anything that the current ESCs are lacking in terms of the requirements of the hobby. Like, give me an example. What do you need? What do you need, but it's not there? Full like sinusoid signal, impossible with the hardware, because the hardware is just too simple for that kind of the crap. That's just like, yeah, there are no new releases, but on the other hand, what else do you need? A few years ago, I stopped upgrading my ESCs completely. Like, okay, never mind. Only connect the configurator, change the rotation of the motor so everything works. Forget, I don't care. And maybe on the 7 inches, like adjust the acceleration and max power. I don't know, one of the settings, and that's all. We don't need anything else. So it's life. It's life. Everything is great. Everything is fine. We will be happy. We will be having a lot of stuff. Okay, maybe it's time to have some less serious topics. It will be a comment that is somehow related to what I said a few minutes ago. I have a feeling that people are obsessed with things that doesn't really matter. It was only like last week when I read somewhere someone was asking what are the best settings for Express LRS for 2-inch drones, and I ask why. What kind of the special functions can the special settings, magical setting, make that the 2-inch drone will fly better? How this is different from a 5 or 7 or 10 or like 20-inch drones? What's the difference? The only difference I can imagine is the data ratio. So you have the telemetry faster, slower, but if you don't need a lot of telemetry, it doesn't really matter, because why? For the hobby use, absolutely makes no sense. And even the data rate, the refresh rate, it's like, okay, you go with 250 and you are golden because everything works. And if you want to go slightly further away, maybe you should lower the data rate, and that's all. But it's exactly the same situation like with the ESCs. What are the best settings for this specific drone for this ESC? But what's the difference? Honestly, guys, what is the difference? What kind of the practical difference there will be for everyday user who asks this question if he will change some value from the magical value 7 to magical value 9? In my opinion, none. For 99.9999% of the pilots, they will not notice any kind of the difference. If they will notice any kind of difference, it's only because they thought they saw kind of the difference. It will be a placebo. Yes, there is this like teeny tiny group, of course, that might notice practical difference, but it's just a radio system. It's just a radio system. It has to transmit data from point A to point B, do it fast, relatively fast, and with resistance to noise and losing the signal and aspects like that. And done. And maybe provide telemetry the second way. But size of the propellers doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter if you are not forced by a special conditions, like for example, this is a racing event and you were asked to disable the telemetry. But this is because this is a racing event and you were asked to disable the telemetry, not because it's a 2-inch drop. And exactly the same is to some extent with the ESCs. You change the rotation or direction of the motors. Maybe you lower ramp up, and so like, come on, you're golden. Okay, with the ESC, maybe there's really like something more, because yes, there are settings that are important for certain crafts, but like radio, I think we are just slightly exaggerating the whole process. And what are your thoughts on the topic? What do you think? Because I just told you what I think. I mean, FPVs for smaller drones, you need higher PWM. No, it's not true. Absolutely not true. It's not true, because it depends on you. It depends on the reflexes of the pilot, and this is something. 99.99999% of the pilots will not be able to figure out if they are flying with the data rate of 100 Hz or 250 Hz on the radio link. Impossible to find out. I will go even one step further. For 98% of the pilots, they will not be able to distinguish between 50 Hz and 250 Hz. Impossible. Some time ago, I made an experiment with a different system. Yeah, okay, it was not Express LRS, but it was Ghost, when I was able to go from 12 Hz to, I think, 250 Hz. And you know what? Yes, on 12 Hz, you were able to feel that something is off. Absolutely. You were flying, you were moving the stick, and you could feel the delay. Like, okay, so you had to really plan everything. But once you went into 50 Hz, it's like, okay, it's okay, maybe, okay, it's much better. 12 versus 50 Hz, huge difference. I will not deny it. But then when you go from 50 to 100 Hz, yeah, okay, it got slightly maybe better. Maybe it's slightly more responsive. Maybe you really like feel something that it's maybe slightly better. But if I would really like think about this, can I grab this difference? Like say, okay, this is definitely better than that one. Impossible. But once you went from the 100 Hz into 200 Hz refresh rate on the radio link, no difference. Absolutely no bloody difference. Everything was behaving exactly the same. Yes, there are pilots, like the top-tier racing pilots, who will be able to feel the difference. But I can guarantee, if you do this kind of the blind test to your colleagues, they will fail it. They will not be able to guess if this is 250 or 100 Hertz data rate, because our reflexes are just not good enough. And remember that there is still the delay of the radio system. Even the motors have delay when they are accelerating. And with the radio, we are only transmitting our commands. It's not that the refresh rate on the radio has any effect on the stabilization of the drone. No, it doesn't. So that's that. Yet everybody, oh no, I cannot like fly with lower because 250 Hertz because it will hurt my performance. No, it won't. No, it won't. Make the experiment. Make the experiment for yourself. It's super simple. You have like Express LRS 250, go to 100 Hertz. See, check if you can really feel the difference. Then go to the lowest settings you can set on the Express LRS and verify, can you feel the difference? You won't be able to feel the difference. I remember even a few years ago, Stinger Swarm and Bardwell were doing this kind of the test on the Crossfire with the high data rate and low data rate, and they were like setting someone, having someone else to fly, and like no, 50% of the cases they were completely wrong. They were not able to figure out which one is high data rate and which one is low data rate. So no, as long as we go into this certain level of the refresh rate that does not have enough of the delay, too much of the delay, it's like you will not feel any kind of the difference in terms of the performance. That's just the reality, because it's our perception of time that is the biggest limiting factor over there. But everybody knows that because 500 Hz is twice as much than 250 Hz, that means that 500 Hz has to be twice as good as 250 Hz. It's a public knowledge, after all. I'm talking radios. I'm talking about radios, not the ESCs. With the ESC, it's a completely different story. But even with the ESC and the PWM rate on the ESC, do you need a higher PWM rate? Not really. The thing is, the PWM rate on the ESC is something else than the PWM rate on the radio link. It's not the frequency in which the ESC is driving the motor. It's the frequency in which the timer generates the peaks for that go into the windings, and everything depending on the inductance and on the impedance of the coils. It just has the effect of the how rapid the power response is. You will of course get higher losses on the higher frequencies, but what you get when you increase the PWM frequency on the motors is that you smoothen out the power, you smoothen out the torque curve. So motor just cannot accelerate that fast. Yes, the total output power will be similar, but it cannot accelerate that fast because the current lags behind the voltage, and as the power curve is delayed. This is a purely physical phenomenon. Read about it, about how the current follows voltage on the AC systems, and it all depends on the inductance. It's like 2 years ago I started getting some data for the video, but it got so much technical stuff that I just abandoned the project at one point. But 24, it will fly. It will fly. For years we were flying on the 24 and everything was fine. If there is one technology that is related to the ESCs that really changed the game, and changed the game by that much, and if you would try to fly an old ESC or the ESC with disabled of this functionality, then yes, you will notice the difference. No, this is not the D-shot, not bidirectional, D-shot, multi-shot, one-shot, nothing like that. The technology that really changed everything in terms of how well the ESCs are able to handling propellers, are able to fly our drones, is the active braking. The damped light, or just braking on the latest versions of the ESCs. This is the thing that changed everything, because before the active braking, when the ESC got the command to slow down, it was not able to actively brake the motor. If the motor was spinning of the too high of the RPMs comparing to the current command, ESC had no way to slow this motor down. That meant that the drag on the propeller had to overcome the inertia, and it was slowly winding down. That meant that the fast response of the drone was just, and tighter control loop was just not impossible, because yes, you could relatively quickly accelerate the propeller, but you could not decelerate the propeller. But once the damped light really appeared, everything changed, because for the first time propeller was not able only to accelerate quickly, but also to decelerate quickly. And this single change allowed us to have much higher P gains, much higher D gains, much higher filter frequencies, because we got much more of the control, immediate control on how much thrust each of the propeller is generating. Yes, I will not deny that going from standard PWM of the 490 Hz into the one-shot was also a big change in terms of the performance that is really like related to the ESC. It changed a lot. Make yourself a test one day. Try to standard protocol or versus the one-shot protocol, which is like 490 Hz comparing to, I think, 2 kilohertz. So there's different. I made an experiment like that a few years ago. You can feel the difference. It's noticeable, but it's not that big of the difference as the active braking. But once after we go from one shot 125 into multi-shot, then into D-shot, there is no practical difference of the actual performance of how fast the ESC can drive, how efficiently and quickly ESC can drive the motor. It's not there. And if you think about this, the D-shot is slower than multi-shot. So it's a completely different story. Yes, the D-shot gave us few additional benefits of the whole procedure, but it's not really directly related to the faster data rate, because it's not faster. But that's a completely different story. So yeah, the biggest change in the ESCs is the active braking, and the second biggest change are just faster ESC protocols, but still, the active braking much more important. Ian says that before active braking, your quad looked like it was falling uncontrollably out of the sky and the low throttle. Quad flew like shit in 2012. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Wait a second, I will show you something. No, I will not show you anything. The thing is buried too deep in that wardrobe. A few years ago, I built myself an legacy quad. Like, honestly, like the oldest shit I could build at that point. It was ZMR 250. It was SP Racing and Betaflight 2 point something, and the ESC is also like kinda old, and only the radio leak was kinda. And I put this thing. Yeah, we can even watch the video. I recorded like that was where 3 years ago. So 2021. We can even watch the video.
I'm Paweł Spychalski, and as the winter exercise, I decided to go back in time.
Oh, my videos were so boring years ago. Okay, maybe here. You see, I still have this quad.
My ZMR 250. As you can see, for a 5-inch quad is
pretty
big, because if
you see, it still has the X8R. Free Sky. But no, it was not. It was something else. I don't remember what kind of the ESC that was. Maybe that was some of them. No, SP Racing. No, it's the SP Racing. It's the SP Racing, two-bladed propellers. Yeah, that was something. Analog VTX. By the way, my first drone I built was also the ZMR 250. And I was able to pack all the space in here with cables. You could not really like put the finger inside. There were so many cables everywhere. But let's see how this thing flies. I don't remember if during that flight I had the barely controllable in flight. You see that like it's bobbing, like it's going. And I think I even put the red bottoms, Emax red bottoms. And it was running on 4S on the other hand, 6 on 4S, yeah. So if anybody would like to remind himself, I think I connected with S-Bus that thing. I think it was connected with S-Bus. I have to like refresh this video, but when I have no bloody time, so that's a completely different story. So yeah, the ESCs active braking, that was the thing that really like changed everything. Asgard Studios, good afternoon. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. The, by the way, no, you will have a surprise. No, that will. Speaking about the technology that dies, recently, maybe in the last 2 years or so, there is one technology that I think finally like is put to rest, and we won't have to really like mess with this thing again, and those are the SPI receivers. I get the rationale behind the SPI receivers that led to the general like appearance of the SPI receivers a few years ago. Because a lot of F411 flight controllers have only like 2 hardware serial ports, and if you connect like the OSD and maybe ESC telemetry or the GPS, it just lacks 3 hardware ports. So if you connect your receiver via the SPI, it helps because it helps and you have 1 serial port more. But in terms of the good news, that's basically the only news. What really happened with the SPI receivers? They were so tightly connected with the flight controller hardware that maintaining that thing became very hard. And to further save on the hardware costs, the manufacturers were it was not like the full receiver connected via the SPI. Just like the serial port, it was like a castrated receiver that there the MCU that is on the flight controller had to do all the heavy lifting and basically drive this thing. So it kind of shifted the responsibility of the radio link from the provider of the radio link to the provider of the flight controller software. This is, for example, INAV never really got the support of many of those flight controllers with the SPI integrated hardware, because we don't care. We don't want to be the software that builds the radio links out of nowhere. We are the flight controller. It's the responsibility of the radio link to provide data. We don't want to tell the radio receiver how to do its job, and it's dying. Like finally, like it was a nice experiment. We had a good run for the few years, especially in the world of the tiny whoops, because it allowed everyone to make everything smaller. But it's done. Betaflight is backing out from this technology. Express LRS is backing back from this technology. Everyone around are backing out of this technology. Like a few years ago, if you wanted to buy a tiny whoop from the Beta FPV, the Meteor, for example, series, you had the option to buy the Express LRS with the SPI receiver. Now, no, everyone realized this is not the way, and this technology is basically dying, and this is a good thing. Because there should be a clear distinction of the responsibilities, and the flight controller should be responsible only for controlling the flight, while the radio receiver should be responsible only for the receiving the radio and passing this to the flight controller. So we probably will not see any new generations of this hardware, especially that with I think Express LRS 3, Express LRS officially guys said no, we are not playing with this thing again, like obsolete technology, let's move. And I think currently the only new hardware that you can get those SPI receivers are the FreeSky compatible receivers, SPI connected. But I think that's really all. And it's, of course, it doesn't mean that the SPI technology is going away. No, because our flight controllers are flyable only thanks to the SPI. But it's a proof of time that the SPI connector receivers were dead end and led to basically nothing. Robert says that I haven't aged. It's the beard. It's the beard. No, I lost a few kilos since those those videos. Maybe not. No, I have not lost few kilos. I gained some muscles and lost some fat. So maybe that's why people think I have not aged, but I have. Especially my side got worse. This is clear, but I gained a few kilos of muscles for sure, because last 2 years I'm cycling quite a lot and like power. Mother Hatter, I got some Express LRS SPI S1 2 boards. You have them, use them, but the chance that you will get software updates for those are seriously limited. So in case there will be Express LRS 4, which is break compatibility with the radio protocol of the Express LRS 3 or 2, I don't remember which one is over there, you might have problems getting them to work. But yeah. Henrik Dick de Kaiser, I'm sorry for butchering your name. So AM32 is the future, and not exactly. One thing we know is that BLHeli 32 is dead. It's not even kicking, like it's down, dead completely. And in the next few months, we will see who will win, because it all depends on what Chinese manufacturers will be really producing. And they might just switch the hardware that is currently running on the BLHeli 32 to AM32 or Escape 32, which is another competition to BLHeli 32, or they just drop the whole line and just concentrate only on making hardware compatible with the BLHeli AS or Blue Jay or what else. There is one more. I always forget the name of that. If the war ends, will it come back? No idea. Nobody knows. It's maybe if the sanctions against Russia will be lifted, then maybe. Who knows? But besides that, yeah. So. What else? Oh, I will show you something. But I started to prepare topics for the live streams, and I have something like that. Two antennas are better than one, right? Because 2 is twice as much as 1, so 2 antennas have to be better than 1. We are talking, of course, about the diversity. We are talking about the diversity, especially in terms of the radio links and to some extent on the digital FPV. Because it's not an uncommon sight to nowadays see receivers with 2 antennas. And basically, come on, like we had this thing since like last 20 years, not maybe not 20, but 10 years at least, because even the series of the FreeSky receivers had 2 antennas for the diversity. What's the diversity? Of course, it's more than 1 antenna, and the receiver or the transmitter switches to the antenna that in theory has the better reception of the signal. And in theory everything works just fine. Then we went into the digital FPV, and also digital system adopted 2 antennas, because if you have the diversity, you can actively shape the signal by exactly modifying what goes into which antenna to have the better reception. And that's fine. Diversity absolutely works, especially if you use it smart. You can connect different types of the antennas, maybe different polarization, linear, circular. There are a lot of ways that can make your overall FPV and RC experience better when you utilize the diversity. But then there is this. And I have no bloody idea what they thought when they designed the AKK New Era Dual Antenna VTX. Analog FPV with 2 antennas. And the further you read the description, the further you start to ask yourself what the hell were they thinking. Because apparently on this thing they have 1 left-hand polarized antenna and 1 right-hand polarized antenna, and that is supposed to give you a better reception. Maybe. I was honestly thinking, should I maybe buy myself one of those, how they are called, the AKK New Era Dual VTXes? But then, like, if I have to spend $22, I have better ways to spend $22 because I can buy me a decent whiskey. Not good, but decent, something I can drink and then not to throw up, let's say. And if you like dilute the whiskey with cola, it's like every whiskey, almost every whiskey is then drinkable. It doesn't work like that. You can, of course, you can build a radio system that has both left-hand polarized and right-hand polarized antennas, but this has to be a very precise setup so that the antennas are not interfering. Because even think about this like that. The antennas itself are not 100% efficient thing. Even if the signal in theory is right-hand polarized, it will still be, some of the signal will also be detectable by the left-hand polarized antenna, because the attenuation is only like 99% of this thing. So why? It's the analog. You cannot really switch between different receivers. And even more, even if you start using this thing, you will probably have to have the special setup on your goggles. Because if you will have like two right-hand polarized antennas on the goggles, like let's say we all have, then the left-hand polarized transmitter antenna will be useless because nothing will be getting on the left-hand polarized. So you would have to have one right-hand polarized, one left-hand polarized. You would rather not. Okay, maybe you would be able. And then if one of the antennas is attenuated because of some kind of the magic, the different antenna will pick it up. Plus, of course, everybody forgets that after being rejected from the software, the right-hand polarized radio signal becomes the left-hand polarized radio signal. So shadows and overlying phases on your goggles are probably like notoriously bad on this thing. So should I buy? No, okay, let's do it other way. Should I buy this VTX to make a proper test of this thing? I will just make the quick poll over here. Should I buy and test? Okay, how to make a poll? Start a poll. I wonder what you think. The whole idea is just so stupid. Okay, 69% say I should buy and test. 73. I think we're gonna have 69. 69. Nice. 78. They will not cancel each other. It's not that they will not cancel each other. This is not how left-hand polarized and right-hand polarized work out, because both phases can 100% coexist at the same time. But overall, I suspect that the degradation of the signal will be just stupidly bad, and the shadows and ghosts on the screen will be notoriously bad over there. But okay, only 65. Is there a chance I will lose this bet? Because at one, I really thinking maybe I should. Yes, like go for it, go Pavel. 64%. Okay, let's give it one more minute. 65. Okay, I think we know how this thing will go. Who's Bardwell? Oh, savage bird. Okay. Buy to debunk it forever. But yeah, like Jeff Locke, this is one of those things that is just different to the sake of being different. Yes. On the other hand, there is a pretty good chance that people will start buying things only because they are different. because that's just the reality. And the fact that it has two antennas has to be better than only one antenna, because two is twice as much as one. That means that this VTX is twice as good as the single antenna. So so that's that. Nick Scorio, we are voting, should I buy and test the AKK new era dual antenna VTX over here, which everybody, like, who knows how the radio systems are working, say it's a stupid thing. So should I buy? Should I buy? Add to cars. Okay, I will buy. I will buy, and in a few months, we will know. Oh, and while we are on the analog VTXs, my another opinion on the topic. In the last few years, we have a tendency to have a ridiculous power VTXs, analog VTXs on the market. Like, I remember, like 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was around 5 years ago, before COVID, I got the AKK 1.2 watts VTX. Wow, it was so big, massive, huge heatsink, so much power, and on a slightly bigger range than anything else. It was 1.2 watts. Everybody was like, wow. Now, if you want to, you can get like crazy amount of power VTXs, like crazy amount of power VTXs. AKK, of course, because why not? The Foxeer has something with 3 watts of power. I have over here the Gap RC 2.5 watts output power on the analog VTX. By the way, this VTX looks really like super good. Solid aluminum casing. It has the integrated fan. You see that this is a nice build quality. However, I smoked it. I connected the antenna, but I smoked it, and as the result, I had a plan. I wanted to use it in one of the projects, but I will not, because I smoked this VTX. And I think the AKK has something like crazy, super crazy right now. 3 watts. You see, you can get 3 watts. You can have 10 watts. AKK Alpha 10. You can have 10 watts, 5.8 gigahertz VTX. And I ask the question, why? I know why. War. Because when you are in the RF noise and active jamming rich environment, the strong VTX is basically your only chance to be able to get through the noise and get somewhere. So yes, over there I agree. There might be like, this might give you this extra edge over somewhere to be able to like fly like 500 meters further towards the jamming device. But for us, the hobby use, this is useless. Like, no, not only that, it will not get you much farther, because the physics says if you double the power, you only increase the theoretical range by the square of 2. So if you have 1 watt VTX, which is crazy high power, and by the way, you need a ham license or just the radio license basically everywhere when you need to be able to legally use this thing, and you go to 2 watts of power, you will not go twice as far. You will only go 1.42 times as far as the 1 watt. And then to really go twice as far, so let's say that you hit 10 kilometers on 1 watt and you want to go 2 kilometers. You don't want to go to 2 watts, because this will not get you to 20 kilometers. You have to go with 4 watts of power. Plus, I expect that this thing heats up like crazy. This thing has to be so hot. I don't see anywhere. Oh, there's a heatsink. Come on, just look at the size of this bloody heatsink and the fan. Like, and it has 4 mounting holes for the easier installation. Like crazy. That's crazy. The only the only practical thing I really see that this can make sense is war. When you have active jamming on the 5.8 gigahertz and you don't really care about the regulations. But if you are just flying recreationally as the hobby or even long range, no, like this is like this is this will not get you really anywhere. And I wonder how much power this really drains from your battery, because this is 10 watts of the output power. So I expect minus energy conversion losses. This thing probably pulls like 20, 25, maybe even 30 watts of power and dissipates majority of this power as the waste heat. So AKK really likes to build stuff that looks crazy cool, but is practically, I think, useless, at least for the hobby use. What do you think about this lucid like crap? Yeah, reminds memories. Yeah, expect that this dual antenna VTX is just like doesn't make sense. And yeah, you need extra battery only to keep this thing cool, so it doesn't make absolutely no sense. Oh, by the way, no, I will not be bragging. No, that's not. So that's that. And by the way, if you don't know, I'm recording videos for my second channel right now. I have this script because I can show you that I have live stream topics. So we are like candidates we can talk about. I'm pretty sure that some of you know that I have this second YouTube channel. And my second YouTube channel is called FPV Bytes, where I just put the excerpts from this stream, so we can switch to the Switch account. Oh, by the way, if anyone ever thinks how much you can get from running a YouTube channel that is relatively big in the niche monthly, that's how much you get from roughly 80,000 views per month. And roughly 5,000 hours of the views per month. You get $300. And if I'm taking side gigs as the software developer, I earn that much in roughly 3 hours. So running a YouTube channel is not really a good business. It costs a shitload of money because I have to earn almost 1 year for the camera I have over here. And this microphone over here is 1 month of my income on the YouTube channel. So don't start a YouTube channel on the RC and FPV hobby. You have no chance. No, as a hobby, yes. As a something, yes. But if you're thinking about having this as a business, you will fail. So don't do it. But anyhow, I have this secondary FPV Bytes channel, which, to my surprise, is kind of growing quite nicely. I already have more than 1,000 subscribers. So FPV Bytes, if you want to subscribe, then please do. And the way I'm recording those videos for this channel during the live stream, I think it's pretty cool, pretty nice. You like it, I like it, and we have a nice conversation going over here. So yeah, so don't become YouTubers. Or rather, don't become full-time YouTubers. And speaking about full-time YouTubers, I think the Bardwell is the last one, maybe not the last one, but one of the very few that actually made some decent money on this whole FPV YouTube channel thing. I think he's the only one. So no, don't become YouTubers. Oh, you cannot find the FPV Bytes? No, come on. FPV Bytes. Of course it's there. Oh, come on. I even have the handle. Of course, you can become a full-time YouTuber. But the thing is, you cannot become a full-time YouTuber on the RC and FPV hobby. And you currently will not become a full-time YouTuber just coming off the street, starting a YouTube channel. That's not the reality. Yes, of course, you can start a profitable YouTube channel, but it has to be either channel for everyone, and you are really like the media beast that knows how to like record videos, or it has to be a very profitable niche. I'm not a comedian, not Mr. Beast type of the guy, so like this won't happen. I'm still thinking. I'm a software developer. I'm a bloody good software developer with more than 20 years. Oh, 25, more than 25 years of the experience as a software developer. Although recently I'm not really developing software, I'm rather like writing Confluence documents and unblock others from developing software. I'm thinking that to just like I want to take sabbatical from work, like to rest a little, like to have like half a year of time for myself. I bet if I work really, really hard, in 6 months, I can spin up a big software development related, tutorial related channel that will have a decent number of views. I will still earn less than as the software developer right now, but it will be at least slightly profitable. Because there is just a need, it's a big niche. People are actively developing, like compare the number of people. I have a small like few videos about software development. Brenner Vass, business to sell drone parts. No. I don't want to say no, but no, it's not. It's too late. If you wanted to start into the RC and FPV hobby, it would have to be like 10 years ago. 2014, that was, if you started 2014, you would be golden now. But see how much of the companies are really like just dying out. TBS, when was the last time when TBS released something that is important for the RC and FPV hobby? Different shops, local hobby shops, smaller companies selling this and that. No, it's not really working. Not only, yes, of course, I think that right now like 5 times more drones are manufactured right now and they are sent to Ukraine. But to send a lot of drones to Ukraine, you have to know how to send a lot of drones to Ukraine or Russia, like somewhere there you have to have contracts. That means you have to have ability to get a lot of hardware, so you have to have direct input to China. So, but the Chinese are producing the drones by themselves and selling to China. So it's not really that simple. My suspicion is that just starting any other, at least for me, it's not a good business idea because it's just too late. The market is too small. The market is too saturated. Of course, yes, you probably can have a sustainable business, but it will not be that big of a business, and you will not get very rich out of that deal. Maybe it's only me. Just figure out how to make super cool drone, but not Biden flight for the FPV pilots. That won't work. So, Volodymyr, what's my language? In the last 8 years, I'm basically only backend Java. I specialize in the REST APIs, authentication, authorization, and recently also the architecture, system architecture for different, usually banking-related purposes. So that's what I do it's the corporate Pavel. No, there is a corporate Pavel. Officially, there is a corporate Pavel. Completely different dude, doing completely different stuff, meeting with different people and answering their questions, writing documents, sometimes even writing some code. But during my daytime job, I develop banking applications in Java. But I only concentrate on the REST APIs, asynchronous processing architecture, and authentication authorization. That's what I do. I'm pretty good at it, by the way. But that's a completely different. I hate fucking Spring Boot. I hate Spring Boot. It's such a bloatware. It's like everybody are using Spring Boot. I hated this thing. Yes, you can do fancy stuff with it, simple, but if you like, no, it's such a no. I personally I prefer Drop Wizard, but that's me. If they put a ban on DJI drones in America, it might create a market for American drone builders. Yes, but I doubt it will happen because of things. But the market, we have to DJI drones are not the competition for the RC and FPV hobby. This is something that everybody has to understand. Even when the DJI will be, let's say, completely banned from the US market, the biggest market in the world. That's something that we have to 100% agree. You guys are the biggest market. Even if United States will ban DJI drones, there will be not possible to import any drones from DJI into the United States. It doesn't mean that current generations of the hardware that can be made in the United States can become a competition, a product replacement. Because think about it like that. The grand majority of what DJI is selling are the commercial or industrial drones, not this kind of the do-it-yourself stuff. The market is really in the commercial for everyday bloke camera drones. And currently, in the world, there is no competition at all. Nobody, and I honestly say nobody, currently manufactures anything that is comparable to what DJI offers. And what DJI has that nobody else has, is the video transmission system. Nobody else has it. Yes, Walksnail is pretty close, but one more time, Walksnail is not the United States technology. At least we don't know who really make the hardware for the Walksnail, but that's a completely different story. So even if the DJI will be banned, it doesn't mean that it will be easy for the United States companies to fill the market gap. Like to figure, oh, now we're gonna sell our drone that people will buy instead of the DJI. But first you have to develop something like that. And this is not like cutting from carbon. You cannot expect the user to solder everything like that. No. It's not really that simple. And I doubt that banning DJI will improve the situation on the market. Because nobody really wants to fly FPV drones, if not counting us here in this hobby already. But that's just my opinion. How about OpenIPC? Tell me when I will be able to buy OpenIPC goggles and VTX in the internets. When I will be able to go to the online store and just, okay, I will buy IPC. I have $1,000 I can spend. I want to buy the hardware. I want to get the goggles and I want to get the VTX. And the VTX has to have similar capabilities as the DJI O3 or the Walksnail Moonlight camera. Something similar, comparable. When this will happen, I will say, okay, OpenIPC is the competition. Before that, no. Even the fact, I know that OpenIPC is working on the new hardware, yes. Will I be able to just buy? Or will I have to wait please wait 6 months for the next batch of 1,000 units to be manufactured? If this is how it's supposed to work, then no. I would love to see a real competition, a third player on the market. Because let's be honest, like HD0, it's a slightly different niche. I would love to see a competition for the DJI and the Walksnail, so the third player. But it would have to be a third player. If you want to buy DJI hardware, you buy the DJI hardware. If you want to buy Walksnail hardware, that just plug and play. You connect everything and it works. You do it. But can you do it with the OpenIPC? Will you be able to do it with the OpenIPC? Not build yourself, not hack anything, not wait half a year in the line to be able to get something. No, just go buy. Then it will be a competition. Before that, it's just a hobby project. It's a geek stage. Yes, it's a geek stage. Exactly. It's a geek stage. And Express, let's not compare this with Express LRS, because the situation is completely different with Express LRS. Express LRS hardware is crazy cheap. You have no idea how much of the margin the manufacturers of the Express LRS receivers manufacturers have. It's crazy cheap stuff. Like, I would not be surprised if manufacturing of one of the Express LRS receivers costs like $2, maybe $2.50, maybe $3, not more. Everything else is the margin. And those are off-the-shelf components. You just buy a reel of 1,000 LoRa chipsets, you just buy 1,000 ESP32, you just buy 1,000, you make 1,000 of the different components required, only a few, and you have yourself 1,000 Express LRS compatible receivers. Easy peasy, no problem. Do the same with the digital FPV. You won't, because what you need are not off-the-shelf components. You need a special ASIC. You need a hardware-specific. You need software running in hardware to be able to pull the compression with low latency fast enough that you can like. Cheap Semtech chips made a revolution. Yes, they did, but cheap Semtech chip cannot transmit video. Express LRS 915, it's not. The more and more actually companies are selling. I have like over here I have this one. Oh, this one. This is. I have the Gapper C. I have some Radio Masters. It's available. It's not really a problem. So that's that. Orca HD, does it exist? Anybody seen Orca HD? Can you buy Orca HD? Show me. Give me a link to a shop where I can buy Orca HD. I might, but I won't because I can't. No, SX1280 will not transfer you video. It's just impossible. It doesn't have the data rate to do so. To transfer video, you need megabytes of bandwidth. SX1280 offers you bytes, kilobytes, not megabytes. 1,000, not enough. So no. This is a huge misunderstanding of what LoRa can do. Happy weekend, by the way. Yeah. So 20 FPS. With huge latency. Okay, maybe, but then it was not using the LoRa. And 640 by 480 at 20 FPS, it's not what we want for the digital FPV. Okay, maybe. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm pretty sure you can transfer a very heavily compressed, low-resolution video over the Semtech LoRa chipset. But probably you have to switch this chip to the, what's the modulation called? Not the LoRa, but I forget the different modulation that will cut the range but increase the bandwidth. Then I think yes, you can have like 100 kilobits per second of the bandwidth, and then this super compressed. But will this be a competition to the HD systems that are using 50 megabits of the bandwidth right now? No, because 50 megabits, 100 kilobits, like it doesn't really match. So no. Okay, completely different. Vium, sorry for butchering your name. Artery chip coming to INAV, but INAV supports Artery 32, 8032 for more than a year. We supported them before Betaflight did. Want a proof? I can show you proof. I can show you proof. Let's quickly open the don't save. Let's find the target. Target. Where's the artery tech? Oh, for example, there's iFlight port. Board we support. Up here. Target 8032 F435. iFlight Blitz 80 F435. We do support those bastards. So, and we were way before Betaflight did it officially. So that. Okay, what time? Ooh, we still have like a few minutes. And VTXes. It will be more about the VTXes. Because I have to record more videos for my second channel. Fifth channel. Okay. There's a huge misconception of what the antenna gain is. Because, contrary to the popular belief, antenna is not an amplifier. Antenna, although having some kind of the gain, antenna is not amplifying the signal. If you enter into the antenna, let's say 1 watt of power, the antenna will radiate in total 1 watt of power. Overall, on the average, it will be only 1 watt of power. So overall, general gain of every antenna is only 0. You're not gaining anything because the antenna is not an amplifier. The gain of the antenna is not really the gain like we understand from the amplifier word. The gain of the antenna is more like the directional factor, because what antenna can do is it can shape the radiation pattern. There is something called the isotropic antenna. It's just like the point that radiates everything that goes into this antenna. By the way, isotropic antennas doesn't exist because they are against the physics, but for the theoretical computation, we have an isotropic antenna, which has the gain of 0, because you enter 1 watt, it radiates equally into exactly every direction. It radiates 1 watt. What the antenna really is the assumption that there is a direction into which the antenna radiates more than to the others. And if, for example, if we have the antenna with the gain of the 3 dBi. The I at the end stands for the isotropic antenna. The gain of the 3 dBis means that there is a direction on the antenna radiation pattern in which in this specific antenna radiates 3 decibels more than the isotropic antenna. So in theory, there is a gain in this one direction, in this cone, in this shape. The antenna radiates twice as much as the isotropic, but it's not generating this power from nowhere. It just radiates less from every other direction. That's why we have the radiation patterns of the antenna. So if you see an antenna with the gain of the 3 dBi, that means there is a direction in which it radiates 3 decibels more than the isotropic antenna. By the way, there is also a different unit how we can measure the gain of the antenna. It's the dBd. It's the dB, how much of the decibels, comparing to a dipole. It's slightly less used, but okay. The dipole with the antenna with active and ground, and it already has, let's say, donut-shaped radiation pattern. If we have the antenna with the gain of the 3 dBd, that means that this antenna in certain direction radiates twice as much power as the dipole antenna radiates in its stronger, let's say, the donut shape radiation pattern. Antenna does not produce any power. Antenna can only shape the radiation pattern, and it can be more sensitive in one of the directions or just radiates more power into the void from this one direction. But it's not amplifying the signal. It's just getting the power from a different direction. That's why we can have directional antennas, because they are sensitive in one direction and much less sensitive in every single one. Always check the radiation pattern. The power is not getting from the void. It has to be taken from someone else. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, C. I remember the C. Yeah, I had this video transmission system from C. Yeah, no. Viom, question. There are no stupid questions, they are only stupid answers. Instead to putting an amplifier chip on the video transmitter, can we use RS amplifier between antenna and video TX antenna connector? One more time. Can we use between the antenna and the video RX? I think you want to amplify the receiver signal instead of amplifying on the transmitter signal. Yes, but it will not work as you want to, because there is this concept of... No, there are actually two issues that prevent this thing from really happening. I will record it. Can we, instead of putting the power amplifier on the TX and amplify the output of the transmitter, can put the amplifier on the receiver part and just boost the signal that goes into the receiver from the antenna? In theory, it might work. In practice, it will not work because of the two reasons. The reason number one is that there is something that is called the noise level. Everywhere around us, there is a certain amount of RF noise. If the signal from the transmitter travels through the void, it gets attenuated. It gets less power is radiated because of the bigger volume of space, because of the attenuation of air and different factors. And at the certain points, the power of the signal will drop below the ground noise level. That means it will be just weaker than the noise. If something is weaker than the noise, you cannot really pick the signal up, because you have no idea if the signal, unless you're like 100% tuned to the correct frequency, you don't know if what you are picking is any kind of distinguishable from the background noise. Yes, to some extent, the LoRa modulation can pick a signal that is below the ground noise level, but this is only like special case over here. So power amplifier on the receiver side will not really help you much if the signal is already below the noise level, ground noise level, because it's just lost. There's noise. At certain moment, it's just noise. On the other hand, the power amplifiers have problems working with the very small input values. They are adding some noise. And it's not only a percentage. So it's just much cleaner signal that will output the power amplifier if the input signal is strong enough. If the input signal is basically on the transmitter side, because it's a clean signal from the radio chipset. It's easily readable only on the wire, fed into the power amplifier. Power amplifier boosts this signal, put to antenna. If we try to reproduce this thing on the receiver side, the signal that comes out of the antenna is already very, 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 very weak. If you try to, and maybe even below the noise, ground noise level, if you try to amplify the signal, it will be very, 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 very tiny differences of the amplitude that then you would have to amplify. And because this is a very small amplitude, attempt to amplify this thing will lead to adding extra noise. Because we will not be able to very precisely quantify anything. So at the result, yes, you might higher absolute levels, but at the same time, if the signal was below the ground level, it's lost. And even if it was slow, but with the low amplitude, it will just get distorted while trying to amplify it. So no, this is why we just have to have a lot of output power on the output on the transmitter, and we also, but on the other hand, we also are getting more sensitive receivers. But here we have to do special tricks, like for example LoRa modulation that can pick signals from below the ground noise level. That will not work, for example, for different kinds of the modulation. Physics. You cannot really fight with physics. Okay, gents, the last 10 minutes of the stream, so if you have any questions or the ideas, then drop them in the chat right now, because in a few minutes we will be slowly ending. I do have to say that I had a lot of topics to cover on the stream. It was quite nice, because the last few streams were kind of like I had nothing to talk about. Now I have, which is kind of amazing. You know what? This whole BLHeli 32 conundrum is the biggest drama we had in the hobby since the beginning of the hobby. Honestly, there was nothing bigger. Absolutely, no, nothing. This is the biggest thing. And like, nobody cares. Like, meh. Well, I did a video. Matstek did a video. Somebody else probably did a video, but like, meh, nobody cares. Because nobody cares about the RC and FPV anymore, besides us, you know, the veterans of the whole hobby. Is there anything else on the chat that I kind of can talk about? JZ1234, have you seen the Gepper C Rat Tiny 300 milliwatts VTX? I think. Not sure if I've never bought anything from the Gepper C. Gepper C actually started, I think, making a very budget-friendly hardware, but a few years ago they kind of shifted into slightly more quality products. I do have to say that maybe it's not perfect, because like I said, I like this Matten from 2.5 watts of the power. I smoked this thing. Probably my bet, probably not my bet, no idea. They are making quite a decent GPSs recently. They are making quite a decent quality Express LRS hardware. Even if you look at the quality of the board over here, like you see that, okay, maybe this is not the cheapest ever. Yes, the PCB maybe is not the highest quality ever, but in general it's not bad as well. So why not? They made quite a decent flight controllers. I have quite a few of the Gepper Cs currently, because I was helping develop them some of the targets. I think the quality is not worse than the competition. Of course, you know, like maybe it's a flight controller. Like now it's really hard to make something that's like quality-wise ahead of the competition. I think it's at least fine, and they are making also quite a lot of different drones currently that are on the market. So yeah, why not? Maybe it's not that bad, but it's only, let's say, my general opinion on the topic. Alessandro, how long you suppose F722s will stand the software memory storage present on the chip? Better switch already to H7 series? Yeah, so if you do not expect anything special from the F722 just to fly around, then probably some time. I mean, if you have them, have them, use them. Sure, why not? Okay, fantastic. If, however, you are thinking about buying a new flight controller and you want to use the GPS on it, don't make it F722. The best... Oh, Mosca, hello! I will say something controversial. F405. Get yourself F405. It will be cheaper. It won't have inverters on the serial ports because, well, with Express LRS, who cares about the inverters on the serial port? And the F405 will fly as well as the 722 because in performance-wise, there will be exactly the same. No problem. I mean, the loop time will be the same. And let's not even go into the optimizations phases. And 8 kilohertz is not really that much of the requirement. It's a myth. They will be cheaper and they have much more flash. So they will be bulletproof for years. You do not have to really go from F722 to H7. If not F405 because you don't believe them, like Moscow wrote F745, F765. I not think there are currently any F765 on the market. This somehow never happened. But for example, GapRC, we are talking about the GapRC. GapRC started to put on the market the F745s in the standard 30 by 30 millimeters form factor. This thing has shitload of flash and the memory and the performance, and it's like should be fine. But don't get yourself new F722s. No. Doesn't really make sense. Okay, the last question from Volodymyr. RISC-V Linux boards. One, Linux is not a real-time system. Bada boom. B, you don't need Linux to fly drones. C, they are more expensive, they are more complicated, and they will be bigger, and just does not, for the RCN FPV hobby, doesn't really offer any benefits. That's just the reality. So I'm not saying that you cannot build a like FPV drone, but why? What's the point of that? That doesn't make sense. Okay, if no, because I will be misunderstood. If you know how to do it and have like shitload of free time, do it. You will have a nice project on your shoulders. But issue of porting AINA for Betaflight to RISC-V architecture? Why? It doesn't really make sense. It will only make everything more complex and more expensive and but not better because it's like just. But they have second core. ESP32 also has the 2 cores. Have you recently seen any flight controller based on the ESP32? I know there is a port of ArduPilot for ESP32, but somehow it's not getting too much of the traction. Why? Suppliers seems to prefer H7, bigger margin. And it's probably simpler to source H7s comparing to the F405s because like everything cheap like goes to the Ukraine. Everything like thousands of drones every week are going to the Ukraine, this or that side. That's just the reality. Okay, gents, we will be slowly ending this wonderful live stream. I don't remember when the last time I had so many viewers on the stream, which is super cool. We cover a lot of interesting problems, questions, challenges. We had a nice discussion about BLHeli 32 and why the Homeland Security should be watching me. My FBI officer, don't watch me. I'm a good guy. We learned that if you're thinking about starting the FPV related YouTube channel and you want to live for it, don't go. No. Not worth it. Okay, we already discussed that. You can just scroll back to this part if you really want to, and that's all for today. We will probably see each other in July, because why not? I will let you know when the stream is ready. because why not? Like I'm a much happier person since I stopped doing streams every month, every week. Like I have more time, I have to do fancy stuff, and that's that. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Happy flying and happy flying. Ciao.